far back as I could remember, I always wanted to beat Elden Ring at level 1. But it was always way too fucking hard. Before I ever played a Dark Souls game, I knew about Soul level 1 runs, or NSL 1 run for short. They're infamous for being a way to show your mastery of the game, but they're also infamous for being scrump-diddly-dumptiously difficult. And not for those who value their time or their sanity. In Elden Ring, however, souls have been replaced with runes. So instead, they're called Rune Level 1 runs. To make things simple, this means 3 things. First, you get the express privilege of dying in 1 hit. Second, oh, there is no second. You're dead. You died. Goodbye. Nope, just kidding. I can never leave. And third, because you can't level, you get to go shopping! Yay! Yay, shopping! Sorry. But who would want to do something like that? Who wants to die in 1 hit? Who wants to go shopping? Well, you're not gonna believe this, but me.
Chapter 1. Wow, what a cute little kitty.
Meow. My fucking name is Baseball, bitch. But why baseball? For what purpose? Oh, the bat. First up, we got the Crafted Scion, or to me, the Crab Guy. He's a boss that you're supposed to lose to. Billy! And then get washed ashore while some homeless person puts drugs in your pocket and talks about whatever the fuck. Yep, you're supposed to lose. Or are you?
Time warp! Yes, I did it! It's working! I'm going back in time! That's right, I'm back, and I'm eating crab tonight!
Billy!
Ah, I see. Despite my ability to travel across time, I lack any autonomy in changing my fate. In the end, I simply died the same death, and all my ingenuity brought me was my own subjugation.
Womp womp. Nah, just kidding. Fuck this crab. That shit was easy as fuck. I mean, 41 tries, that isn't too bad. Now, I could go get tons of smithing stones and become overpowered, but I'm doing this run to challenge myself, so I'm not going to do that. It would be as stupid as someone just doing a random pirate voice, and that's totally not me. Instead, I'm going to limit myself to no upgrades until I beat Godric.
Ahoy, matey! The next scallywag be Tree Sentinel. The way he swabbed me poop deck, he may as well be a tentacle. Arr.
Besides that, he's a boss with nice, clean hitboxes. That makes him one of my favorite bosses in the entire game, and gives you tons of opportunities to just sidestep whatever move he's using. He's also a boss that utilizes and teaches positioning. Because his halberd is in one hand and his shield is in the other, it makes sense to stand on his shield side to avoid the halberd attacks. And this actually works. At least until phase 2. At around 50% HP, he starts smashing his shield into the ground and into you. If any of these attacks hit me at my HP, even if I'm at max HP, I'll likely die. The secret is to roll into the smashing attacks. That way all the little particles he brings up can't hit you and kill you. While this boss looks mobile, if you just stand still, he'll always come back, allowing you to smack. So, while Tree Sentinel is a really big scary guy on a horse, he's also a really big scary guy going into the back of a hearse. Wink. The next boss I'm going to fight is Margit. On my way there, I should probably state the overall rules and goals of the run. I should have done this a little bit earlier, but I'm developing a new thing called Radical Stupidity. It's pretty cool. Anyway, I knew I wanted to do a Rune Level 1 run, but I also knew that there were a lot of ways that someone can make a Rune Level 1 run easier, and I did not want that. I wanted to play the game as hard as I could manage. because I wanted to learn more about it, and it was time to learn my fucking place. My rules for this run were: 1. I can only use the club I get at the beginning of the game. That means no other weapons, no other clubs, no one equipping the club, or equipping any other weapon, or sacred seals, or glintstone staffs, or shield, or armor, or whatever else. But sadly, I had to play with talismans because I was too much of a bit. 2. No status effects. I wanted to avoid cheese strats with sleep pots, or doing a percentage of the boss's HP as damage. This was to enhance the feeling of pain and suffer the effects of my hubris. That I think beating this game normally at level 1 is just way too easy. These are the only 2 really important rules, but there are some more restrictions that I put on myself, as you could see here, as you could read. Hopefully you could read them. Hopefully you could read. If you can't read, that's okay. Not everyone can. But it's probably a good idea to learn how to read. Okay, the next boss is Margit. This boss is well regarded, as in he's a pretty famous boss for delaying his attacks in order to roll catch his target. Roll catching usually means baiting someone into using their roll and then hitting them after their invincibility frames gained from the roll are up. But that can also be used to punish him severely. Because of the time it takes for him to attack, you can usually run behind him or to the side to avoid the attack completely. Interspersed between his slow attacks are fast and difficult to dodge attacks. It's generally a sound strategy to wait for a slow attack to punish if you don't feel safe weaving your attacks between his. While this boss is at the beginning of the game, he's definitely one of the hardest to get down consistently. His mix-up and access to a wide variety of attacks can easily throw you off if you're not paying careful attention. Whenever you fight him, you can tell, this guy is a fucking tryhard. But he's also dead. Or is he? The next boss is special in more ways than one. He's our first remembrance boss, and his name is Godric. More like God. Can I get some dick?
No!
Oh. Okay. He's also kind of quirky. As you can see, he looks interesting, but he's really just misunderstood. He only wants to crush the world that crushed him. And honestly, I'm all for it.
I command thee.
Wooga!
You don't have to ask me twice. Be gone from my head, you demon.
Sorry about that. Yeah, what you really need to focus on here are all the arms and stuff on Godric's body, which are limbs from other unlucky tarnished and creatures that he's just decided to attach to himself. He's a grotesque image of what it truly means to want to exist in the society of the Erd Tree. Absorb what you can from your own enemies, and those you deem strong enough, so you can make yourself powerful enough to survive what comes next. Wait a second. That sounds kind of familiar. What's interesting, though, is everything the previous 2 bosses had in skill, Godric completely lacks. His skill is in his desperation and how much of himself he's willing to lose to kill you. Because he's grafted lots of different creatures onto his body, he happily borrows the slashing attack from the Scaly Misbegotten, as well as the wind attack from the Knights of Stormvale Castle. Although, he does add his own twist. Of course, there's still some of that classic desperation that you could find in his swing axe many times attack. And no, in fact, I am not salty because he killed me. I'm just stating a fact. I'm just stating exactly what happened. Also, he smashed you, like his predecessor Godfrey. But it's my headcanon that he loves to get smashed, too. Enough smashing will force him into his second phase, where he cuts off his arm. And replaces it with a dragon. He's really proud of this, even though it's likely the dragon was actually a small child, considering that a fully grown dragon's head would be maybe a little bit smaller than his entire body. Nevertheless, he starts shooting flames from his dragon head. Unfortunately, this leaves his kneecaps wide open. In general, it's a good idea to try to stay close to him, but be careful. This can easily backfire, as he still has his wind attack, now fiery, along with new attacks. While these attacks aren't difficult to dodge, they can definitely catch you unawares. All in all, Godric is Godric. He's a fun boss, who's also not ever going to be too dick down difficult. His moves are too slow, his golden fields too green, his dragon head too dead. So yeah, I mean, I'm gonna kill him. Yeah.
Of all that is golden, and one day we'll return together to our home, bathed in rays of gold.
Well, Godric is now Dedric, and that means I can finally upgrade all my shit. My first step is I gotta get a bunch of smithing stones, and of course, can't forget them flask upgrades, talisman, ashy war. Yep, I'll definitely be needing these to beat the next few big bosses. Since I'm in MALENIA already, I might as well bitch slap this magic dragon and steal his keys. For fun, by the way, not to break into anybody's magic college or anything. But before I continue my counterattack on education, I got enticed by a very hot lava dragon, who did not last that long, and to be honest, I was a little bit disappointed, but it's fine. I expected this, and got myself a little treat. The Gargoyle. Gargoyle. First of all, this bitch is weird. The first time I fought it, I definitely did not think it was a gargoyle, but if you pay more attention to the features, like the bow legs or hunched back, it starts to make some sense. But I think this particular gargoyle design was inspired by stylized gargoyles and grotesques, rather than the more popular gargoyle design you see in other video games. Speaking of stylized, check this shit out. So, because the gargoyle is so big, you can dodge a lot of its attacks by just walking through its legs. And it's super satisfying too, because he still moves at a normal speed, instead of the slow speed big guys normally move at in From Software games, which really helps you murder it. Now we gotta hurry along, because we got an old favorite coming back for round 2.
Oh boy, I'm so excited. I can't wait.
Oh. Yeah, I didn't mean you.
But I did mean you.
Land ho!
You know, I don't know why pirates say that shit about women. No woman is a hoe, and you're all valid. But this is
The Draconic Tree Sentinel! Man the sails, ye salty dogs!
Okay, not all dogs are that salty. Each dog actually tastes different. But you know who else is wondering how your dog tastes? The Draconic Tree Sentinel. And I think I speak for a lot of players when I say, especially on your first playthrough, fuck the dog, man. He's gonna eat you. Just our luck, though, that this Draconic Tree Sentinel has a lot in common with their older and weaker relative, the regular Tree Sentinel. For instance, their mace side is brutal, with lots of attacks that are constantly changing speed, but the shield side is consistently slow and abusable. On the contrary, though, while the regular Tree Sentinel is lacking any ranged capabilities, this boss has a fireball spitting horse. While maybe if you're insane, this does not look too deadly, traditionally he will fire this ball at anybody who is healing themselves, basically halving or negating the worth of the flask charge. His second phase is where this fight can get really scary, though. He has multiple lightning attacks that do bonkers damage. A rough one is the lightning rain attack, where you usually are kind of blind to what lightning bolts are because you don't want to take your eyes off the boss, so you die. Instead, I found you should turn away from the boss in order to see where the lightning was actually summoned. Keep dodging too, because he's going to shoot a fireball at you. There's also a move akin to the shield slam of the regular tree sentinel, where you need to dodge into it to avoid the lightning particles. All in all, this is a difficult boss, but taking it slow and making sure that your positioning is correct will carry the shit out of you. This is actually something I've never done before, though. I've never actually killed him before I killed the other Great Rune boss, because the Two Fingers says you need 2 Great Runes to get into the capital. So yeah, I've never seen this barrier before, and that's pretty cool. But now it's time to go actually get the next Great Rune, held by my best friend Moonbrook, a true king and massive legend. Here I am bashing his skull. Great times. Huh. If only. It's held by Renala, Queen of the Full Moon. I'm not actually disappointed. Renala is a pretty interesting fight. At the beginning, you get to kill children, which is always a positive. You only have to kill 3 before her bubble breaks and she falls to the ground. This is possibly a reference to the 3 children Radagon had with Renala before running back to the Erdtree capital to be with a Ratchet. This is pretty much the extent of the first phase of the fight. You're just going to beat the shit out of her until the real fight starts at phase 2. This part of the fight usually has multiple damaging mechanics that you will just have to juggle at the same time. Almost like some this was all planned type shit. And if you don't handle every single mechanic, she will throw a moon at your head like Thanos. But luckily, she also has really low poise, meaning she suffers from hit stun. This means for most of her attacks, you can interrupt her so she doesn't even get to cast them. Meaning, the hardest part of this fight for a melee character is sticking close to her. But that's not too hard. She can summon a bunch of different monsters to help her kill you. This time, she summoned a dragon, which is probably one of the weaker things that she could summon, just because of how slow it attacks. And sadly, it was a little bit too late for her, and yeah, I mean, I send my regards to the family. With Renala's Great Rune in hand, we could finally enter the city of Landel. But first, we have to make a quick detour into the countryside for a festival. Man, I fucking love it here. Something about big-ass birds just coming to fuck up my day makes me so happy. The only thing that could make this better would be like a steroid avatar zeroing my position and instantly killing me with a big-ass arrow. Oh, fuck yes! And who else has that je ne sais quoi, the required swagger? But General Radon. More like, come on. Me. Radon is in fact what the boys call a no-scoper. His ranged attacks are fast and brutal, but once you get close, you only have to deal with his quick and voluptuous melee attacks. To dodge this, getting underneath or behind him, in a battle sense, is usually a strong position to take for battle. He also has charge moves, which can hit you if you're behind him, allowing you to whack him off, making him easier to finish. But he doesn't let you do that. Instead, he jumps his ass into motherfucking space. From what I understand, he arrives in the direction he was facing when he jumps. And boy, is that an arrival. Yeehaw! Now, I think the best bet is for you to try to kill him as fast as possible. He can mix his rock and gravity attacks with his regular attacks and just straight up clusterfuck you. I will admit, though, that I don't know much about this phase, as I usually just kill him. And while I wish he had more HP, I think we all wish we could last a little bit longer. And that's okay. Even though the rules decree that this boss needed to die because it was a remembrance boss, we also had to kill him because it smashes a giant rock into the ground. Solidarity, brother.
And you know what that means? It's time to dismantle the ruling class. One squishy small guy at a time.
Oh my god! I just found Godfrey, Elden Lord! Does that mean if I beat him, I get to be Elden Lord? And then push around all the small people below me? I can't wait! Oh, I mean, I'm definitely not an evil person, though. Me? Psh, I'm a good guy. Even though all my ugly, base desires have been laid bare by the promise of power. Man, there's no way this is Godfrey. This is a fucking piss golem, man. Fuck! Now I have to fight Morgott. Piss baby of Lindale. Well, at least I fought this boss like 5,000 times. I mean, it shouldn't be that... That's right. He's back. And he's really trying this time. Unlike last time, where he was only using like 10% of his power, this time, I'm fucked. Yeah. In-game, he represents a big jump up in boss difficulty, being the guy that blocks the entrance to the mountaintop of the fire giants and somewhere deep down below. He's essentially the final boss of Genocide Apologia. Just the most sick and twisted individual to walk the plane, for fuck's sake. Good thing it's our job to out-debate him and become a true journeyman of the club. Oh, yeah, I mean, he's also cursed, which has the effect of turning the ground kinda watery. I wonder if this curse is really a blessing, though. Mimicking the control over some power that infinitely moves forward, dictating ebb and flow, day and night, maybe life and death? I mean time. Why, you might ask, do I think that? Well, time is a river, my friend. You already know, though, that of course I'm a big enough hater to rub it into this old man's face that he fucking lost, and now I will literally burn everything he's ever loved into the ground. Womp womp. Of course, the all-loving Erdtree is unable to come to the door at the moment, so a scary crackhead lady I met in a cave says she'll help me burn it all down. Seems good to me. I mean, I was gonna do it anyways, so fuck it. So off we go to the mountaintop of the giants.
It'll be a long and dangerous trek. I'll have to brave the outskirts of the capital, ride through the snow and freezing cold, and fight the gargoyles' older, more twisted cousin.
Oh, my bad. I meant I twisted his corpse up after I killed him because I'm fucking evil. Meow. Now to continue on my trek. Oh, I'm here. On top of this big-ass mountain, there are two main bosses that we have to deal with. First on the list is Commander Neil. He's held up in Castle Sol. This whole place is full of notably evil fucking enemies, including birds. So, it would make sense that Commander Neil starts the fight ambushing you with two banished knights. The strategy here is only one of the knights consistently runs at you. So you wait for the dual sword knight to run into you and kill you. No, I mean you kill it, along with the shield banished knight. And finally, you get to fight the actual boss. First things first, take this fight slow. Neil doesn't move or attack all that fast, but when he does, his moves are very fucking wide. While it's possible to keep beating on him for extended periods of time, be wary whenever he lifts his leg, for his dreaded ice cream blast is not far away. His main charge move requires you to completely get away from him while he swings his flag around, summoning a hellish tundra. Afterward, he comes slashing after you and exhausts himself, allowing for you to happily beat the living shit out of him. The rest of this fight is kind of like a repeat. He does the same things over and over again until you put him out of his godforsaken misery. The reason we came here was to get the Haligtree Medallion, which, combined with the other half, allows us to enter into the consecrated snowfield,
and gives us access to 2 more Remembrance bosses. But before venturing further, I decided to make a detour back to where that giant rock blew a hole in the ground. There's 3 Remembrance bosses down there as well, and they're a bit easier. So I kind of want to just kill them now to end their pathetic misery. Before the first Remembrance boss, we are forced against our will into therapy. Why are we doing this? Who am I? What's up with my self-destructive behavior, and will I ever be free from chicken tenders? Why is hot chocolate so popular, but not hot vanilla? These questions and more will not be answered, because turns out I'm a massive loser, only persevering through the existence of the questions themselves. And that's why I feel this next Remembrance boss, the Regal Ancestral Spirit, and I are sort of kin. We not only understand each other, but are both solely persevering through the power of our suck. And yes, I do suck mad dick, actually, at video games, of course. Yeah. Beyond its sucking capabilities, this beautiful animal kind of resembles Torrent, our unconditionally loving companion. Because this reindeer can control life, it makes sense to question why it's so fucking dead. Maybe it's the 2 fuck-huge gargoyles? Nah. Maybe it's the massive amount of ants? No, I mean, they're currently eating my intestines, so probably not. Oh, I know. It's probably the Prince of Death, just hanging around. Of course, before we could fight his certified lover boy, we gotta fight a couple certified, player characters first. But only 3 are actually player characters that are controlled by AI. The last 2 are Roger and Lionel, 2 story NPCs that are the same every time. Of course, Flaming Strike is really good here. It not only does a shit ton of damage, but it also staggers. Combine that with the wide range, and it gives us an amazing offensive and defensive tool that lets us deal with most NPCs, even player ones, with complete ease. But after blasting Lionel, we have a Lich Dragon to fight. Much like the combination of the words cocky, what, boing, boing, saying the words Lich Dragon erects an aura of constant and pure terror, which is then ejaculated straight onto my face. Personally, sometimes with strong emotions like this, it becomes hard for me to demonstrate them adequately. So, instead I wrote a poem. I hate the way you walk. I hate the way you talk. I hate the way you lightning shock. I hate you, you croc. I hate you, Lich Dragon, 40 socks. Oh my god! I'm so hard on this. Thank you. I want to thank my cat. I want to thank my water bottle. I want to thank my caffeine kids. I want to thank my cocaine. Oh, that was a joke. I don't actually do cocaine. I do not do cocaine. I do not do cocaine. I do not do cocaine. Oh, thank God they believe me. Okay, stop fucking clapping. Thank you. So, back to reality. This boss is a powered-up ancient dragon. He has all those moves that an ancient dragon has, but more. This includes a constant field around him that summons lightning on you if you go underneath him, as well as the ability to call down lightning that summons death clouds. Getting out of the death clouds seems simple, but he also combines it with his wing flappy attack. The lightning that sticks to you lasts the same amount of time every time, so keeping track of how long it lasts through weapon swings is a good bet. For example, it takes about 3 hits for me before the lightning goes off. He also shares the really cinematic air lightning attacks. Overall, this fight is one of the harder ones because of all the things you would have to keep track of. On top of the basic ancient dragon attacks that can be pretty hard to dodge sometimes, but can also be a liability for his survivability. Wink. Now that that guy is double dead, we can collect the Mending Rune of Death and make our way to the 3rd and final Remembrance boss of this long and wide hole. On our merry way, we run into a small, dull creature. And after embarrassing her because I talk to dolls, that's not even my fucking fault by the way, I'm just lonely AF, she asks us to take care of a problem for her. A small wolf man problem. A wolf guy.
There's a wolf guy on the fucking loose, and he's gonna kick my fucking ass. And there's nothing I can do about it. Actually, I'm just kidding again. This guy is also weak to Flaming Strike. Very good fucking move, by the way. Now that we've summarily executed what I think was that doll's ex, we get to go through a massive Scarlet Rot Lake, which I recommend probably using the HP regen tier for, to a big-ass coffin in the middle of the Rot Lake that takes us to a wetter, deeper hole, and to a low-key, freaky AF boss, Estelle, the natural bitch of the void. While I don't really understand exactly why he looks like a fucked up scorpion creature, I will say the start of this boss fight plays a lot like Radahn's. Radahn specifically held the stars up in the sky, which I guess this guy was one of those. So maybe that's a little play on how Radahn became much like, and probably worse, than the disasters he wanted to stop. I would say Estelle's main shtick is using moves that explode after a delay. So giving him lots of space to go ahead and explode is crucial. And, much like a bunch of monster bosses, this guy's main weakness is head. I mean, same, but use that after he explodes, and there really isn't much left to even fight. After you sufficiently beat him off, he does a quick teleport and begins summoning meteors. While this looks like the end of the world, it's kind of easy to just spam your roll right through them. And keep beating his head like a bongo until he finally just passes out from exhaustion. And with that, we are free to make our way to the Moonlight Altar and collect 6 +8 Smithing Stones, which is the real reason I did Ronnie's quest, to be frank. Nah, I can't even lie. I'm crazy for that Dussy. But I'm also crazy for that Mag Mussy. No, I don't know what I'm saying either. There's a random ancient dragon smithing stone. That's pretty cool. Combining those smithing stones I found earlier with a quick trip to the Colombian coal mines, and we got ourselves a maxed weapon. Now we gotta find a boss to demolish with it. Yay! I'm so happy! Oh. Oh, Rykard. I don't know if you recall the rules, but let's hear rule number 1 again. 1. I can only use the club I get at the beginning of the game. If you fought Rykard before, you know this is fucked, but if you haven't, let me tell you why. You see, when you enter Rykard's arena for the first time, there's a special weapon called the Serpent Hunter that you're supposed to use to defeat him. It gains extra damage and the wind attack thing against Rykard. Using any other weapon is kind of painful too, because Rykard has a lot of HP and is surrounded by lava. For reference, this first phase has almost 3 times the HP that Estelle the Space Scorpion had. Now because I can't change weapons, I'm stuck with this butt plug dick shit. So our weapon is small and pathetic and his body is surrounded by lava. How am I supposed to hit this boss? I have to wait. I can only smack his head after he attacks us. But that's only for attacks where he actually brings his head down. For this earthquake attack, or his poison spit attack, he does not bring his head down. But for this combo attack where he chomps at you about 1 to 3 times, you can get about 1 to 3 hits in. The secret to getting more hits in is to dodge in the general direction that the snakehead is going to go after he chomps at you. He also has a lava smash attack, where you can get, again, 3 hits in. And this fuck-ass tube snake attack. So yeah, it's pretty difficult figuring out how to hit him in the first place, but once you do figure it out, he's like a lot of other bosses. But this time, really long. This time, that really is what she said. Is this snake the hardest thing in the world? No, that's me. Was I overreacting again? No. This snake alone has given me permanent snake PTSD from literally being beaten to death by his big head for days. If I so much as see a snake, I'll...
What happened? I lost consciousness. I think I went into rage mode.
Oh, I did it. I beat him. Finally. He's dead.
Oh. Oh. Uh-oh. Yeah, I think this guy has a phase 2. You know what? I won't panic. I won't panic because, you know, I did the first phase. I could do it again. I could do it again. Actually, small problem. I can't hit this guy at all. And then, after I die to his long cock sword, I have to fight the snake again. So I decided to take a break from that boss and focus on some other bosses first. Not to worry, I mean, I have a plan to kill that fucking snake, but I'm gonna need some tools to carry it out. And the first obstacle in our way is the fire giant. Now, this guy is huge, but has a pretty pathetic round 1. I'm honestly right there with you, buddy. I just get a little too excited and bam. But that's, you know, in the past. Now all I gotta do is attack his weak-ass left ankle. And keep attacking it until he pulls a Dark Souls and rolls away. Unlucky for him, though, that never stopped any Dark Souls boss from beating my ass. So, I break his fucking ankles. And then he's like, oh, I have a phase 2! And he uses his Ember. Now that his foot is gone, his new weak spots are his hands. Thank God at the start of this phase, he always does this Flame Strike attack, allowing us to smack said hands. But he also got hands, as in he could smash us too. So I found I can get a lot of damage in just attacking his legs during some of his moves. Of course, the more you hit him, the more poise damage you do as well, making it mucho posiblio to knock him straight on his ass. At this point though, I do feel kind of bad. I'm essentially fighting the very last fire giant. And there's some evidence that America had Godfrey genocide this guy's entire race by using the power of destined death granted to him by the Elden Ring. But yeah, I entered this guy's home and beat him to death. Now I get to meet that crackhead lady in his backyard where she immediately poisons me with a used needle and sets herself and the Erd Tree on fire. This, for some reason, breaks the causality of time, and after I say my goodbyes to literally my favorite crackhead, I get sent to our destination, Disneyland. Man, so many good memories. You know, I wonder if they still got those, like, weird-ass... Oh shit, they do! They got those Mickey-ass dog people! And they still got the Mickey Dragon! No way! I mean, honestly, this is all fine and dandy, but it's making me wonder. Like, there's no way, right? Like, what if they really still had... Oh shit, they do! The Mickey Mouse Foreskin House! Come inside, it's fun inside. That's right, to get the trinket we need to kill Rykard, we gotta fuck with a pair of right legendary blokes. The Godskin Duo. These guys have an aura of pure penis-snipping terror, and have snatched my shit on basically every playthrough I've done of this game. And it really does not help that the normal run back to their arena is definitely in the top 2 hardest. That's why the real first step of this fight is to jump down here, run through this corridor, make a left, and get this much superior grace that puts you right next to the bosses. Because there's 2 of these weird fellas, there's a lot of flexibility on which one you fight first. I prefer the wide guy because his long-range attacks make it pretty difficult to focus on the narrow guy without getting stabbed. On the other hand, the narrow guy mostly does this jump attack that is kind of easy to avoid, but requires a bit of anticipation so he doesn't catch you out. But yeah, it's definitely viable to fight either guy first, so just pick the one you're more comfortable with and learn that way of doing this fight. When it comes to positioning, your best bet is to utilize the towers to keep the bosses separate. Once the bosses are separated, you just have to deal with one at a time, so that helps. But you still need to pay attention, because the other one could just sneak up right behind you.
When you get either guy to 50%, they go into Angie mode. Once the wide guy is in Angie mode, run away to trigger his rolling attack. This separates him from the other guy, and if you utilize these pillars again, gives you an opportunity to unload your Ash of War, I chose Lightning Slash, into his supple body. Done correctly, this can take out either most or all of his remaining HP, allowing you to make this a true one-on-one fight with the narrow guy. After you beat either boss though, don't forget you can always hit their corpse for extra damage on the total HP bar. The narrow guy has a bunch of fairly scary combo moves, but he also has moves that are somewhat easy to cheese, like his jump attack or his spinning blade attack. Abusing these moves, combined with his low poise and HP, makes it possible to poise break and literally murder him. Now, it's just one more wide guy. To really fuck this guy up, you want to avoid over-attacking and dying from his fainting moves while waiting for a move with a long recovery time so that you can dock and successfully neutralize this guy's foreskin. These guys also have the ability to summon each other back into the fight, so while the move takes a while and is punishable, overconfidence here can get you hit and killed. Instead, I saw that he was going to transform, so I baited his roll attack again and used the Lightning Slash technique from earlier to earn myself an easy W.
Now that this obstacle is gone, I can begin my plan to defeat Rykard.
The truth is, I needed some fucking talismans. The Carrion Filigree Crest, America's Sword Seal,
and the Shard of Alexander. And with these 3 Mousquetouls, I can fully use my secret ultimate murder weapon. Haha.
Thunderbolt.
That's right.
Thunderbolt.
If I can't hit him with a
Thunderbolt.
melee weapon, then he gives me no
Thunderbolt.
choice but to Pikachu
Thunderbolt.
his ass back to Timbuktu.
Thunderbolt.
This is accomplished using the Thunderbolt Ash of War that I can easily equip to the club, so it doesn't break any of the arbitrary rules that I wrote late at night in a drunken stupor. But Rykard has about 60,000 HP, and I only have 78 FP. With the cost of this Ash of War being 10 FP, I can get, carry the 7 Thunderbolts off before I have to drink my little blue flask. So, how do I know this is even possible? The answer is mathematics. With the combined might of the Carrion Filigree Crest reducing the FP cost of Thunderbolt to 8, and Marika's Sword Seal increasing my total FP to 95, along with the Lightning Scorpion Charm and the Shard of Alexander, I can theoretically kill Rykard in about 6 blue flasks. Though this won't always be true for a couple reasons. Hitting his head, which is the number I use for the damage calc, does more damage than hitting his body. The damage boost from the Flask of Wondrous Physic only lasts 3 minutes in a fight that is definitely a bit longer than 3 minutes. But without the Flask of Wondrous Physic at all, it would take about 8 blue flasks. So I guess we're looking at 7 blue flasks used on average. So in conclusion, yes, it is possible. Thank fucking God. Now, I just have to stop sucking mad dick at the fight itself. Of course, that starts with learning his basic combo, which is pretty slow, but he also has this marginally faster stab move that he can use in the middle of this combo attack. So, yeah, I mean, just be careful for that. Other than that, it is relatively safe to cast your Thunderbolts in the middle of his combo. That is, unless he casts his Skull Fireball attack. This thing has fucked my shit up many a time, but it's relatively easy to just run away from it and play patiently. And when I say play patiently, I fully believe that that is the factor that will decide your victory. There are no time limits, and I personally spent hours upon hours dying to literally the most inane shit because I wasn't patient. So just take your time. It doesn't help though that this boss also loves to waste your time. After he attacks for a little bit, he'll do a stomp move and summon an absolutely massive amount of skulls, which I have only ever seen people respond to by running around the edge of the arena. This goes on for about 30 seconds. Just you, Mr. Skeleton, and these musty-ass walls. Ugh. You know it's over when you hear the loud bang sound, which probably means somebody fell off the bed. And the best part about this is a minute later, he's got to do it again. I mean, my shit is sore at this point, but always remember not to let yourself run out of stamina, or else you'll be locked out of being able to sprint and probably die from his skeleton surprise. But look, I'll be completely honest, besides the long ass time it takes to do this fight, most of those moves that he does are pretty simple once you get the hang of them. Thank God then, at 50% HP, he starts double summoning the fireball skulls, which, I mean, you just gotta run the fuck away from, and throwing his Schmeat at you, which you can also do in the middle of a combo, making waiting for the Schmeat attack before using your Thunderbolt, I'd say a pretty good strategy. Using all of this information, I've managed to push Rykard further than I ever have. It's taken me 2 weeks of straight up attempts to even make it this far. And now I just need a little bit more. This is a true testament that if you don't give up, anything is Oh, I guess not. Man, I don't know if I actually have it in me. Fighting this snake over and over again. Dying, passing away, farting. But I can't give up. If my best friend was still here, she would just be sitting on my bed, watching me fight this guy over and over again, maybe meowing sometimes, but she's still here, in my heart, rooting for me, telling me not to give up. Don't give up. Never give up! Even if the boss takes 2 weeks, even if the boss takes 4 weeks, even if you fight him for 12 hours a day, even if it really fucking seems impossible this time. Even if you're so depressed, you can't even get out of bed. Even if you're so depressed, you can't even wake up. Even if your entire life is a waking nightmare. It'll be alright. It doesn't get easier, but you get stronger. Given time, technique never fails. Success is sweeter than a raspberry. And there's nothing sweeter than the words, I did it. I did it, Marshmallow. Now that that's done with, we got some easy bosses coming up. With the first one being Malekith. But I can't say that. He's actually a muy bien pero, who gives us a mucho gracias battle. Yeah, I mean, I don't know Spanish that well, to be honest, but this fight is like butter, complete with his tiny butter knife and vicious pocket sand. Outside of his stab the earth and swipe move, where you can smack his ass 3 times, it's a good idea to only really attack once per attack that he does, because of the insane amount of feints that he has in Phase 1. Through sticking close and constant but disciplined attacks, you can easily break his poise, allowing you to bop him in the side of the body for huge damage, and forces Phase 2, where he stabs himself in the hand and unlocks his true power and name, Malekith the Black Blade. I will be completely honest, this is one of the rawest cutscenes of all fucking time. Given his larger weapon, his attacks come out much slower, but he counters this by being much more mobile. Outside of his regular sword swings, he also has some crazy moves, like this one-mind Sekiro ripoff shit that you can dodge by literally walking to the right, giving you ample time for a counterattack. His mobility does make it kind of difficult to keep attacking him, but he shares the similar low poise of Phase 1, making charge attacks extremely effective against him. Because of his low HP, if you break his poise, he likely won't have much left after he gets up. It is kind of sad because this boss is so good and has been literally betrayed his entire life by Marika, just thrusting that stupid Rune of Death on him. But, you know, I gotta kill God. Hey, it is what it is. Now that the Rune of Death is unbound,
The McDonald's order is fucked. Long live the Burger King.
because McDonald's is burning, all the burger dust is all over the place. That only means one thing. Ronald McDonald. As the name suggests, like some sort of capitalist monolith, he absorbs all of the powers of the bosses that you've killed, making for a unique experience every playthrough. But one thing stays the same. This boss is dog shit if you're melee. That's why I fry his ass. Welcome to the power of God, you capitalist bastard. And now that Ronald is death monologuing, we're free to ignore anything he says because he's not even real. He's a paid actor. But that lore's way too deep, so let's focus up on our next challenge. The big Mac Daddy himself, Godfrey. The first Elden Lord.
A long while.
Holy shit, is that Grape Morgott? Was he your bitch-ass son? Yeah, I totally fucked his shit up for fun, to be honest. He wasn't even a challenge. Hey, by the way, did you know they got you immortalized in piss? Like a golem made of actual piss that looks exactly like you? Like, you're literally a laughingstock, bro. How do you take that much disrespect? Oh, probably because you just don't give a fuck, got it. But that's good, because when you fight him, you have to equally not give a shit. You jump over his rocks, you dodge his bitch-made attacks, and you sidestep his double slash. What's that, you say? If I get hit once, I'll die? Yeah, I don't give a shit. Kill me. I want to die, you old motherfucker. But there is such a thing as not giving enough of a fuck. Like standing here charging up while I beat your ass. Absolute rookie move. At around 50% HP, he starts phase 2, where he absolutely murders that lion guy, Siraj. Considering Siraj is an aged counselor for the Golden Lineage, this is probably a metaphor for him revealing that his real self lacked any connection whatsoever to said Golden Lineage. Instead, he was probably just a guy that liked to fight motherfuckers. And I mean, totally same. That's why I'm fighting him right now. He's a real motherfucker. In the second phase, his moveset is changed to be way more focused on grabbing and ripping out your baby back ribs like some middle-aged dad at Chili's. But he still has those rock-smashing kicks from phase 1, and he lets them loose much faster, only really letting you get about one hit in between his own. Because of his shorter range, sidestepping and spacing his attacks becomes much more possible and rewarding. Of course, he doesn't give a shit, so he's gonna do his little yell and his little ground slam. Bing bong, bing bong. Now, after yelling at the waiter, his attacks that hit the ground shoot out a little shockwave, much like a middle-aged dad in a Chili's bathroom. And it's at this point you could tell that Horaloo is free. Free from his future, free from his past. In this moment, it's just me kicking his ass.
Tarnished. Thy strength befits a crown.
And with that, there are only 4 Remembrance bosses left. While I could tackle them in any order, for some reason, perhaps because of Grape Morgott, I got Moog, Lord of Blood, on the mind.
Dynasty Penisty. When's the last time you went to Tennessee, motherfucker?
This boss, much like our friend Margit down in Bama, specializes in slower attacks to catch you off guard.
And doing absolutely nothing while speaking Latin. For his hobby, he likes to set blood on fire, which is kind of cute. I guess that's why they call him, the Lord of Blood. But what's kind of weird about that is Moog is an omen, a species of humanoid whose souls could not return to the Erd Tree after they died,
and thus were shunned. Because of this and their connection to the Crucible, their horns were sawed off at birth, causing massive losses in blood and the death of many infant omens. It's possible Moog never went through this, as he still has his horns, but he was still likely shunned, as you can find a visage of him smelling like shit deep under the capital. Moog's palace also has a distinct lack of omens. It could be that without the Erdtree, omens could not be replicated, or it could be that Moog learned from, and as Paulo Freire says, internalized his oppressors. That's why there are no omens. That's why he bleeds you and sets your blood on fire, because he acts in a way that his oppressors, Marika and the Two Fingers, would have him act as a weapon against his own people. It's a sad story, and it's possible Marika's oppression still lives on in all of her children. Her words were clear.
Should ye fail to become Ot at all, ye will be forsaken, amounting only to sacrifices.
And we've seen what she's done to her sacrifices.
Like Plassy doo-doo sacks.
Is this big-ass dragon actually a victim of Marika? Who knows? But I sure wish he was. Fighting this boss is like repeatedly paying $5,000 to fly on Spirit Airlines to dogshit Dookie Island, where you are immediately struck by lightning and killed. Everything about it sucks. Even the runback, which is by far the worst in the entire game. It is so bad, I think it may be a Dark Souls 2 reference. Although sometimes you can sneak past this glaive guy easy peasy, other times, seemingly at random, and I mean this literally because I don't know why he does this, he will just aggro on you and kill you. And that sucks, because this runback is a long one, taking about a minute for you to run your ass back to even fight the boss. That shit adds up, meaning if you don't want to waste hours of your life, you better learn how to dodge lightning. What I like to do is attack until I see the lightning begin to accumulate, and then focus on dodging. You can either roll or run out of the way, but I prefer rolling. I've also learned that the safest place to attack him is his tail. Most of his attacks, besides his breath, don't reach back here, and it also triggers his pitiful tail swing attack, where he usually pulls his tail so far back that it literally can't hit you. As always, it's a really good strategy to break his poise. This boss goes down for a long time, and has a long wake-up time. This gives you a huge opportunity to immediately push him into Phase 2, where he ascends into the sky and sharts right back at you. In this phase, he likes to disappear and reappear, repeatedly trying to hit you with his electric claws. If those claws hit the ground, they form an aftershock that can easily hit you if you're not planning ahead for it. And, I mean, it's a bit cosmetic, but Phase 2 also gets rid of all the yellow lightning surrounding the arena, with Placidusax focusing it all into his red lightning cloud. This could mean nothing, but yellow or gold lightning was mainly used by Godwyn the Golden and the Golden Order, as opposed to the red lightning used by ancient dragons and the beastmen. It's possible that this golden lightning could be the result of a battle between Placidusax and the Golden Order, between the dynasty of the McChicken and the royalty of the Big Mac, and could also explain why Placidusax is missing 3 of their heads. In the meantime, it seems I pushed him into the elusive Phase 3, where he does the same thing as Phase 2, but this time he starts a fire in his laser. Roar! But as long as you run, you only have to dodge this one laser. Sure, it takes a bit of anticipation, but it's not dodging lightning. So honestly, it's really not that bad. Still harder than his famous nuke attack, where you just don't get stuck on his wing, and you get to go for a leisurely sprint. But you always gotta go back to beating that ass. So just remember, 6 light attacks does the equivalent poise damage of 1 charged heavy attack. And there's nothing better after a heavy smash than to just smack that meat. Pause. But maybe even the most damaged, hurt, and annoying dragons deserve love. And if that's true, maybe we all do. besides himbos.
Yacht!
But such a Giyot could only be owned by one man, Radagon, of the Golden Order, the holder of the McChicken, the most powerful of all fast food sandwiches. And a totally normal guy that likes to walk at you while you beat the shit out of him.
After about 4 hits, he starts hitting back really fast and really frequently. I try to look for openings when he does his hammer smash moves. While they could seem few and far between, you really won't have to be waiting for too long. Not only does Radagon not have a lot of HP, but when he hits 50% and does his holy stomp, there's a high chance of you poise breaking him, giving you the opportunity to do a metric poop ton of damage. After he gets up, he'll teleport away and start replicating the smashes he used to repair the Elden Ring. You can hit him 2 times before the first smash, 1 time before the second smash, and 3 to 4 times before the third smash. And that should usually be enough to let us face the real puppeteer. They say long ago, a star was sent to the lands between. Unbeknownst to the astronomers and inhabitants of this planet, it bore a beast, a being of great power and unmatched adaptability. Eventually, it learned structure and contorted itself into what we know now as the Elden Ring. It had control over space, time, life, and death. Everything that could be imagined and everything that could not. But it was shattered, and now that's where we find it, clinging to survival. The Elden Beast.
First of all, what the hell is this thing? And why is it so veiny?
Well, it's possible that in calling this creature a beast, a reference is being made to Mr. Beast. Just kidding. I mean the Beast, a concept conceived by writers Stephen Revell and Christopher Wilkinson to explain the forces that acted America into the assassinations of JFK and MLK, and led us to cause the Vietnam War. Essentially, the Beast is a metaphor for the structures we call society. Government, money, media, war, roads, big toilet paper. These are all things that even the most powerful people on the planet are only pawns to. Like a giant wave of water, power is amplified through other avenues of power, and all of these structures being so interconnected is what makes them so unalterable. When Marika shattered the Elden Ring, it was because of this. Even someone like her, who sealed away destined death in an effort to save her children, the same fate that she brought upon the previous helpless lords, someone like her, who had the power of a god, was helpless as her son was murdered in the Night of Black Knives. She realized then that there was no way she could meaningfully change society or change her fate. She realized that she had to break the Elden Ring and rely on someone else with a different fate, no renown, no baggage, doing something completely new to try and make the world a better place. I'm here. Through all the challenges, all the deaths, all the struggles, all the sexual innuendos, through thick and thin, tall and small, large and fucked up. I'm finally here. There's only one boss left that many people consider the hardest in the entire game. MALENIA. The whole reason I did this run was to get better at fighting Malenia. When you fight her regularly and get your ass kicked, and then you see people do it at level 1, it makes you wonder if you could ever actually do that. She has so many moving parts, a long-ass sword, and my favorite, the waterfowl dance. But the more you fight her, the more you realize how much you can actually anticipate her attacks. She has habits like jumping behind you, and moves with long recovery that lets you punish her. Sure, she also has insane aura and can kill you at any moment, but we can also hurt her real bad. Especially with our friend Flaming Stripe. It's at this point I need to be careful though. My waterfowl danceometer is going off the charts, and at this HP level, and right after getting poise broken, she loves to bust it out. I mean, same, but at this range, we only have to dodge one particular slash. That's why it's so important to get away from her, but there's also ways to handle it in melee range. First, you need to circle around her and then dodge right as she starts slashing. Second, you need to dodge into her right before her blade touches the ground. Third, right after your roll, walk directly right and then back to dodge her final slashes. While that dodge is like 50 times more complicated than the long range one, you should have both in your belt if you want to beat this boss consistently at level 1. Especially because her uses of the waterfowl dance can be kind of inconsistent and catch you off guard. Where sometimes you can get 2 to 3 in one phase and 0 in another. Malenia sure loves to talk about how she's never known defeat, but I low-key raffle stomped her ass, to be quite honest, fam. Of course, when is someone truly defeated? It's not when they go down, but when they don't get back up again. What that phrase really means is that she's never given up. Through the loss of her eyes, her limbs, and her identity. At this point, it really shouldn't be a surprise that Malenia has a phase 2. But here, I'll act surprised. What? No way! There's a phase 2? Oh my god! At the start, she always does this stab move, which you can redirect by circling the massive invisible hitbox right below her. This giant Aeonia she summons is full of ways to kill you with just a touch, so take this opportunity to buff up and get back to beating her ass. She has a lot of the same moves from phase 1, with the same opportunities to punish her for those moves. That's low-key a good thing, because this boss is way too hard. But she also has some new moves with varying degrees of punishability. Overall, she's a lot more aggressive in her desire to kill you. Probably because the Scarlet Rod is eating her alive right now as we speak. But unlucky for her, she's not the first person to want me dead. Although in certain situations, she'll really want you dead. So she'll manifest what I think are her dead children to come kill you. But yeah, I mean, if you just run away, then she won't be able to reach you. So this move it's not that bad. After that, she doesn't really have any other new special moves. Now, it's just me and her. In the end, as I fought her like this, I remember that my heart was racing. But I knew her moves. I knew I just had to keep spacing, keep trying to break her poise. Eventually, something would work. And eventually, something did work. And it was just like that I beat Elden Ring at level 1.
Extraordinary. The mark of a true lord.
Now that no one could stop me, it's a good thing that I'm normal and can be trusted with power. I wonder what's behind this old door. I hope there's some sort of chocolate treat. That would be cool. Aw man, it's just some weird fire alien guy. Well, time to let him grab me. Well, I mean, that kind of hurts, but I mean, I bet this has no lasting implications on the state of my game. Oh, cool. I'm burnt like a chicken nugget. And now I can finally end the game. Well, it seems like this fire alien dude is totally controlling me and going to blow up the entire world. That's cool. In the meantime, thanks for watching. And if you liked this video, make sure to like and subscribe. While this is my first video, I plan on releasing more, especially surrounding the upcoming DLC content. I also have a Patreon in the description if you really like this video. Take care, and I wish you all the best.